Thousands of Regina residents live close to rail lines, closer than some national guidelines suggest is a good idea if those properties were built today. Stephanie Taylor has been looking into this. She joins me now in our newsroom. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Jill.
Stephanie, these guidelines were established 4 years ago. They really pushed cities to create a safe buffer zone between homes and rail lines, but that's not always happening in Regina. Why not?
Well, that's because these are guidelines. So think of them more as kind of sound advice, but they aren't law. They are designed with safety in mind, and the city of Regina does try and use them when they can. So basically what these guidelines state is that new homes or new residential developments should be built 30 meters away from a main line and then 300 meters away from a rail yard. Now, our analysis shows that nearly 5,000 residential properties don't meet these guidelines in Regina. Many of these that don't meet the guidelines are of course in older communities. And the point of the guidelines is not to apply the safety rules retroactively. We're not going to see homes torn down or rail lines relocated. But what it does mean is residents deal with noise issues and need to stay vigilant about rail crossings. We have organized all of the homes that are close to rail lines on a map, and you can find that on our website. It shows the buffer zones in the red, so you can see which ones violate the new guidelines.
When it comes to the new developments, though, there is a big multi-million-dollar rail yard redevelopment project underway in Regina. What's the city's plan for that, Stephanie?
Well, the city says rail safety is paramount for this project. And just as background, this is a 17.5-acre site in the warehouse district along Dudney Avenue and Albert Street. It's the former home of CP Intermodal Yards, which have been relocated to the Global Transportation Hub. The city released a draft concept plan in May, so it's not fully approved yet. Now, these are mainly going to be redeveloped into residential buildings with some retail. And the city is in the early stages of planning for this site, and the development is planned to happen over 10 to 15 years. Fred Searle is the manager of current planning with the city and is dealing with the project. I asked him what was going to be done in order to make sure this development is safe.
Through policy, an allocation has been made for the 30-meter setback, which would include fencing along the rail line, berm located next to that with a wall, a 3-meter high wall placed on top of that.
According to the city's consultant, these measures that he's talking about are enough. However, I talked to the project manager who developed these setback guidelines. Her name is Cynthia Lullum, and she does have some concerns because of the ongoing rail yard operations. The area next to the development is not only going to be used as a main line, but as a yard. Now, Lullum says ideally the city should be following the recommended guidelines, which is a building 300 meters away, but that's not happening, so it could be a noisy place to live. Ward Councillor Joel Murray didn't respond to interview requests, but this afternoon I did talk to Andrew Stevens, whose ward is nearby, and he's confident that development can happen on this site and done in a way that noise won't be a factor. Jill?
Thank you, Stephanie.